Okay. All right. Good to
Hi, can you hear
finally
me?
have you. Yes, yes, but we have moved on to the next session. All right. Mr. Oluwafisayo, please, if you are there, the floor is all yours now.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the privilege to have this session, right? And speaking and listening to the other speakers, they've literally said a lot of things. So I'll just sum it up with the ethics and the responsibility, having responsible AI based off of what we've heard earlier. Okay, thank you. Yeah, please go ahead to project the slides. Please confirm that I'm audible enough. Can we all hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, so we are speaking on responsible AI, right? We're speaking on the ethics of AI. What exactly, when we say responsible AI, what exactly do we mean, right? Responsible AI simply speaks to AI designed and developed, to be deployed in ways that are fair and transparent, something that is accountable, something safe, something secure to benefit the society. And we know the way AI is these days. In fact, literally everything is AI now. And, we've spoken about how AI is looking at coming to take our jobs. Yeah. But now, this responsible part of AI and the ethics speaks more to the psychology of AI. Where's the human input with AI? What are our takes on the AI? Where do we come in with this AI? Right? Please go to the next slide. Thank you. Why exactly do we need to put in the responsibility of this AI and the ethics on it? First of all, AI influences, decisions at a scale. And we can see that in even the job market, in almost literally everything that we do, right? We get AI's influence there. Most of the jobs, most of even our activities, if I throw this question out now, how many people, if you're here and you've not used ChatGPT or any of these AI agents, let me see your hands, literally just to do a wave or send an emoji on the chat. Nobody. So literally everybody has literally used AI at one point or the other. So we can see the influence of AI, even in terms of our decision, even to the basic things of sending, exactly sure, even to the basic things of sending emails, right? And it's quite creeping even to some of the decisions we might want to make. We literally would want to consult AI first before making certain decisions. So it's very important. So why are we looking at this aspect? Also, the benefits and the risk, growing together. As, dependent we are on AI, we need to know the risk as well. Because as we are leaning towards AI, what are the benefits? Of course, we are seeing the benefits, but what are also the risks, right? We need to factor all that. And in factoring that, we need to take a stand, being ethical towards this AI that we are literally implementing and using in this age and time. Trust is also essential for the adoption of AI, right? In terms of the privacy, data issue, personalities and things, we need to actually factor the trust factor and the trust factor in this AI. Apologies, yeah. So yes, for this AI, for ethics and responsible AI that we're talking about, we also look at ethics protections with people and organizations. There was a case and scenario that a company actually did the review of another organization. And in doing the review, the reports that they generated was solely dependent on AI without even putting the human factor. When this was realized, the company literally sued the assessing company, right? The organization that assessed them. Because if they could, use AI to do their reviews and assessment themselves, they won't need to consult an external party or a known body to do that for them, right? So here is the case of where you have to build your trust, right? Protect the data of even the organization and the people as well, even when you are using AI to fast track and improve your task. Please go to the next slide. Thank you. So we'll look at some of the core principles of AI. We say, yes, we need to, of ethics within AI, we need to know how to use this AI, our responsibility using AI. We need to be ethical using this AI, but what are the frameworks that will guide us in being ethical? What are the things that we should take note of while even using AI responsibly? Some of the core things we should look at is one, fairness, transparency, accountability, even privacy. We literally mentioned that earlier, safety and security. And then we also have the human oversight, right? These are some of the, or rather the major principle that we should use in, being ethical and ensuring that we use AI responsibly. I'll go into them individually so that we can see some of the stakes on it. When we say fairness, what are we talking about? Please go to the next slide. Please, can you go to the next slide? All right, thank you. So for fairness and bias, we look at identity, right? Biasness. So if we're looking at identifying the biasness of the data, if you're pulling data from AI, the kind of data that you're pulling, is it authentic, right? Or is it generic? Is it just based off of what AI feeds you? How real is it? Or is it inclined towards a certain what I put it, a certain perspective? Because AI literally is a pool of data being fed, different people feed the AI with different information and data, which AI accumulates and gather and then builds up. So when you are pulling such information from the data, hope you are not biased in terms of giving your report for fairness. Is it holistical? So don't just limit. And this would speak to the kind of query that we give to our AIs or even whatever form of interaction that we get to pull such. We should also look at and consider test models across groups. So if I'm going to get a certain information, if I'm using AI to make my work better, am I limiting it to just certain categories, or I cut it across various? Take, for instance, if I want to know how technology has impacted people across board, I won't just look at the financial aspect. I'll go to fintech, go to health, go to, construction, look at it across board, right? And that actually helps in not you being biased with the information that AI feeds you, right? Also, in terms of for you to monitor the outcome and continuously. What I get from AI today, and even if I send the same query in maybe next week, in a few months' time, or tomorrow, the details or the data would be different, right? So there's a continuous improvement, like mentioned earlier. AI improve based off of the data that you feed it, right? So there's continuous improvement. So there shouldn't be a biasness when you actually use AI, right? Also, of course, you have to prompt in with your human effort or the kind of prompts that you want to give it. Then you promote equitable treatments, right? Those are some of the things that we look at in fairness and not being biased in using your AI models. I need to go to the next. Thank you. All right, thank you. The next aspect of the core principle is transparency and explainability. How well is the data that you get from AI? How well is it transparent? Can you explain how AI reaches decisions? I use AI a lot, right? And I'll use myself as an example. When I use AI to, do some task, I would not just pull the data, then, slam it like that. You also need to put your evidence of the sources where AI got those information from. Further research, not just on one source. Check across board, like earlier mentioned, right? In terms of that biasness, check across board where those data have been pulled from. Mostly you might see AI pulled it from maybe different sites or different environments, and then pull that fact into your document or your reports. Not that, oh, AI just gave me this, but it has to be very transparent. By this time within this year, and the beautiful part of it is with the transparency, you can ask AI, where and when did you pull this data? Provide evidence, bring out link, and it feeds you with such data, right? Literally, with computers, it is garbage in, garbage out. So what you feed it is what you get back. In terms of transparency and explainability, you have document model limitations, right? For your document modeling with AI, there are limitations to it, right? So you need to make things straight. You have to follow certain models and don't just, go overboard or make it generic or generalizing your information. Communication also is something. Communicate clear risk, right? So if there are risks to certain things, put it out there, especially when you are doing reports or putting assessments or making findings, right? If there are risks to it, put it out there. Don't just say, oh, this was found and this is the way it is. No, right? Literally, based off of your findings, these are some of the facts that have been stated due to certain things, all right? And this might affect or future implications might be this. Those are how you put information derived from AI. Like mentioned earlier, this information, this data changes over time, right? Your AI learns new things, it develops, and as it changes over time, it makes your previous documents quite kind of redundant, not necessarily redundant, but outdated, exactly, right? So you don't put things so definite, but you have to put with evidence, risk measures, so people don't take that fact over because they are based off research and findings you've gotten from your AI models, right? Also, you have to enable stakeholders understanding, right? So whether you're going to share this document or your reports or reviews with what you've extracted from the AI, you need to enable proper understandings with it. That helps in transparency and explanation. You can go to the next slide. All right. Privacy and data protection. This speaks to data minimization. It's not about the quantity of the data, but rather the quality of the data you put out there, right? Consent and lawful use. Ensure that your data that you put out based off of the report goes with whatever policies within the society you belong to, right? Secure storage and access. Not everything should be open to the public, right? There should be secure measures put in place for the things you pull out using AI. Compliance with regulations, as earlier mentioned, your regulations and your policies, right, needs to be compliant. If not, can be sued. As earlier mentioned, with the story of the company that reviewed another organization, right, I think they actually sued them because they didn't see the authenticity of that document, right? So these are some of the measures in terms of, being ethical in using AI that we should put in place. We can go to the next one, please. All right, so we have accountability and governance, clear ownership of AI systems, right? As the word accountability means, meaning, claiming ownership, right? And governance, you see that every measure, it covers the entirety of what you're doing, the entirety of AI, right? So this framework is part of the things you look out for in your principles in being ethical while using your AI, right? Risk management framework, ensure that the risk is being factored. What's the risk of me using this data from AI? Is this real? Is this authentic, right? Is this the right data, or is it just pulled from, sites that are not verified? Check the risk, right, within your governance and the accountability of the AI's sources and data. Independent reviews and audits. So you check that. You have audits by yourself, review those things. Incident response processes. So if at all that after using AI to take, for instance, build a solution, right? Or, build an application, if I use AI and it helps me to do that, what are the factors in place that if certain things fail, am I able to still, rebuild or, make changes within the application or my code base when, it's live? So what are the risks? What are the incidents to it? Risks you've identified in case this risk crystallize, what are the measures to it? So those are the things that would guide you in using your AI, right? So I know people do a lot of things with AI for now, especially a lot of the developers, in fact, across different walks of life, right? You use AI to do that. As we've mentioned, we spoke about, in the teaching industry, in the, agriculture industry, from the speakers earlier that mentioned, so different areas. But even in those areas, is the AI usage, is it based off of accountability and governance, speaking to your incident response, inventory reviews and audits, your risk management framework, and even taking ownership of the AI system as well? We can go to the next, please. Thank you. Thank you. So we have the human oversight. In as much as we say, yes, AI is doing our work, even as much as you say AI is coming to literally take the jobs, we still have the human factor, right? We still remain responsible for the usage of the information that AI generates. In fact, before you get this information out, you have to prompt it with something, right? AI literally cannot just work all by itself. It needs the human factor. So humans remain responsible for it. You and I remain responsible for this, what's it called? This AI usage, right? So to also human factor oversight, you look at escalating high risk decisions. So as we humans, you know that, in the usage, if you identify certain high risk and all, you escalate that. You allow reviews and appeals. You maintain human judgment, right? That's where the human factor comes in, right? The human oversight comes in the usage of AI. All right, so we can get to the next. Responsible AI risk. Some of the risks that we can speak to within AI, right, is the bias and the discrimination. We can all agree, right, that if at all, take for instance, you feed AI with a pool of data and then you say that it should randomly allocate the data or group it. AI does not know how to group based of the human skills and expertise. Although, yes, it can be built and trained to know, maybe if you feed it with the information of each person's skills and expertise and all, but there's some sort of biasness and discrimination the AI can most likely give, because it, whether we like it or not, has some sort of limited knowledge to some extent, right? Because AI has the knowledge of what has been fed to it, right? So there's still a form of biasness and, discrimination as well, right? So that's where we can come in identifying such risk. So even after you get the data from AI, that's why sometimes when you even get your response from the AI, you don't literally just slam it like that in your job. You still review and then you make amends and updates to suit your own feedback, basically, right? So the next one here we have is the privacy violation. Of course, that's why I can come here, go to AI, any of the AI tools, and then I search, take for instance, I search anybody here, and it will give me something about you. That's because there is privacy violation with AI sometimes, some sort. That's why this is just low-key from my end. I feel like the cybersecurity bits of things would also scale up as AI is scaling up, right? Because, security and privacy measures needs to be, put in place a lot. That's why when you put anything on the internet, just know it's out there in public, right? Then we have misinformation. You can also get misinformed. That's why we need to have your adequate promptings, because it's what you give the AI that you get back, right? And AI might pull something from somewhere else. I would give an instance of a tool that is being used to check the key risk of individuals, right? That's what's it called, a KYC, customer profiling tool, right? And this is the case whereby it can tell you if a particular customer is a high-risk customer or not, right? This is done, of course, using AI as well, because there are ways you can use AI, but this is in the tech industry, right? And when you pull that information, you might search a certain customer name. It will give you different sorts of information and not literally give you the exact customer you're looking at. So you might get maybe a customer with same name, but different info, right? Different details, right? And that can be misleading, or you might get misinformed if you don't have your own full details about the customer as well, right? So you can actually be misinformed from your AI data. So these are some of the risks that we can identify in using what's it called, AI as well, right? but where you need to come in to be very responsible, to take note of this risk, right? And then, address them even in the usage of this AI. AI is beautiful, but these are some of the things that we should factor while we're using it, right? To get the best of it. Security threats, right? So because your data is out there, people can be impersonated. Impersonation can be, there out there because you have lots of your information. In fact, also in the usage, because, I want to quickly set AI with this, you log on to devices that are not properly even, protected. The lack of accountability, because you source this data that is online, you don't literally have the authenticity of your own details or your own information, right? The info that you're using or that you're doing with your task, it's general knowledge, it's AI. So you don't have your bit, you don't have, I think it's Lucille, let me just mention, Lucille does not have her input in the information that she has provided, even with the aid of AI. Victor doesn't have his own bit, even in that report that you generated. So let's bring back authenticity and then, being ethical, even in the usage of AI. Let's go to the next one, please. Yeah, thank you. Let's try to rush out for the time. Implementing responsible AI. So how can we implement this? You do that by establishing policies, right? So in the usage, I know some organizations might tell and say that you don't put in personal information while you're trying to get feedback or use AI, right? You don't put in those personal information. You don't, those are some of the policies that you can use around it. You don't, copy and paste for plagiarism and all that. You don't just take source and then, put it in your documents or put it in your task, right? Also put in references. Those are some of the policies you can put around in implementing a responsible AI usage, right? Also in performing risk assessments, right? At regular intervals, ensure to perform risk assessments, conduct AI audits, right? Coming from the consulting perspective, it is important in conducting audits, right? And this cuts across even with your AI as well, right? Not just you using that, but conduct AI audits. Train employees as well, right, in the usage, because of course, as technology builds, things are unfolding. You need to train the users to use AI as well, so you don't get outdated with information as the world is growing. Then monitor continuous monitoring. So you have to monitor. Like I said, the information you fed AI yesterday would be different from what you pull out from AI today. So it needs this continuous learning with it. Okay, please let's go to the next slide. So far, before we then now go, because we're almost, getting to the end, do we have some questions? Do we have, some bits about it? Because I know everybody uses AI, right? And we're saying you should be responsible in the usage. Is it, how can you be responsible? I would say, the bits of some of the slacks, maybe that some of us have not been responsible in the usage of AI, right? Or do we have questions at this point? You can throw your questions on the chat box. You can maybe raise your hands because I can't really see everybody's hands right now, but you can further ask those questions, right? So there's a case study discussion here. So let's consider AI hiring tool. So there's an hiring tool, right, that you have. What are some of the ethical risks that can exist? First of all, anybody? Someone just write. Having an hiring, of course, an hiring tool is maybe the HR tool they use in getting to hire people. So most likely, let's even say they use it in reviewing CVs, right? To firstly sieve out the experience that they want, right? Then also use it in sourcing for certain expertise. So whatever form, based off the process from start to finish of hiring, your hiring tool does that. So what are some of the ethical risks that can exist within this hiring tool? Based off of what we mentioned earlier, anyone, just one person, please. Let's just see, looking at a case study. Anybody? I'd like to hear our input on this. Okay, I'm a bit tempted to just call in anybody, right? Okay, so let me see. Joy, do you have any response, Joy? Okay, so I'm asking what are some of the ethical risks that you think would exist within an AI hiring tool? So an hiring tool a tool that they use in hiring people, right, which has AI in it. And I gave an instance of having to sieve out, they actually try to sieve out people's CVs first, right, before then you select a few. So what are some of the risks in using, that you can identify or you think, yeah, ethical risk?
Well, I think using AI tool, for instance, to sieve maybe a CV, like you said, we might not be able to have a true um, having a true judgment of, the CVs.
Awesome.
Yeah, because there are times that even some CV don't look um maybe whatever terminologies you're trying to use to sieve or something, they don't have those terms. And yet, if you as a person read through the CV, you might feel this person is fit for the job you want to, fill in for. So I think true judgments might actually be lacking if you use AI tools.
Beautiful. That's amazing, Joy. That's spot on, right? And that speaks to misinformation, right? That speaks to misinformation with the AI tool. A number of like very experienced expertise have been sieved out from the first level using AI, right? With that kind of scenario based off of what Joy has mentioned. If we have any input, you can also like stop me and then ask your questions as well. But I'm satisfied with just Joy's response. But if you have questions, you can still put that in the chat box. All right. So then, how can fairness, transparency, and accountability be ensured in this scenario? We can take Joy's response with the risk, right? Of course, which out of many other risks that we can pick out. But then, how can fairness, transparency, and accountability be ensured? Because we are learning how to be responsible with AI. We've looked at some of the framework we can build around using this AI. AI is awesome, it's amazing, but how can we use it well? How can we, engineer this AI to be more powerful by using the human bits of it and then the AI bits of it, right, to give it the best result. So how can fairness, transparency, and accountability be ensured? Anybody? Anybody? You can still take the example of the CV, but something that's come to my mind now, but like I want to hear other people's perspective. Mm. Let me try and see if I can call on anyone because of our time. Okay, D1. I don't know if that's I pronounced the name properly. D1 or Mona Lisa. I think I can also call it a gentleman as well. Because Joy spoke as a female. Steph. Okay, that's a lady. Steph is a lady. Okay, Femi Adeyeye. Please go ahead. On any of the names that I mentioned, if you want to speak as well, please unmute and speak. Endor, you can go ahead and speak. Endor, sorry, you can go ahead and speak as well if you can. But just say that how can fairness, transparency, and accountability be ensured?
Hello?
Yeah, all those. That's fine, Femi. Okay, please go ahead.
Team here at IGlow. That you were calling. And then you might
And they were struggling to hear you a bit. I am struggling to hear you.
go ahead. And then you
Okay, because of time, I think I'll just pass a bit with that. So how can fairness, thank you, Endo, for trying to give us a response, but you could put it on the chat, right? But let me just put a bit to it. How can fairness, transparency, and accountability be ensured? So for it to be ensured, take for instance, in such CVs, use AI to also prepare your CVs right? So put in the prompt of, if I'm going to, maybe I'm going for a managerial role in a particular company, align my CV with this company's, stake and all that. So literally use your AI to feed it what you need as well. So for fairness as well, transparency, pull that, but let's not forget the human factor, right? Ensuring not just what AI gives you, you slam it. There might be some mismatch within the data information. So ensure that if there are certain things that AI puts in for you that is not authentic, put a reference link as well. Be accountable for whatever information you're feeding using AI, right? So let's go to the next slide. I think we're almost done here. Thank you. Next, please. Thank you. So future of responsible AI, evolving regulations as AI builds up, things evolve. Stronger governance, right? Increased public expectation, and then competitive advantage through trust. Trust must actually be built. So please, let's go to the next. Absolutely, these are the things that we look at the future of AI. Our key takeaway is ethics must be built into AI. Trust is a business asset. Trust is very important. Governance enables innovation and human remains accountable. That's a very important factor. Humans remain accountable. All right, so thank you very much. We can go to the last one. Thank you for your time. I think that's the end and the bit of it. If we have questions, I think we've tried and even put in some of the interaction. You can move to the next slide. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. I think it's exactly 30 minutes. I think we used, which is good. But if you have anything, you can reach out, let me know. Put in your feeds or questions or things. All right.
Well, that was